Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, another battle report for you, and this time it's Eldar Saim Hann themed versus Space Marines. So we're playing the Scouring. I'll go over the objectives in a second for you, but first of all let's run over the armies. Now currently I'm going second and Space Marines are going to be going first. Okay, so I have deployed just here, right in the centre position, with a Farseer with some Warlocks, 5 Warlocks there. They've all got the Witchblades. And then over this side, I'm trying out a squadron of Fire Prisms. I don't normally go for squadrons, but I thought I'd just give it a go tonight, just see how it runs. And behind there we've got some Scatter Laser Shuriken Cannon Vipers. One squad there, and another of the same there. Scatter Lasers and Shuriken Cannons. We have a Wave Serpent. In there we've got 10 Dire Avengers with an Exarch, the Shimmer Shield, and in the ruin building there, first outing for the Scatter Laser Warwalkers. In reserve, up over there, I have my Crimson Hunter Exarch, 2 squads of 6 jet bikes, both with Scatter Lasers. My Psychic Powers I have on the Farseer, Guide, Executioner, Doom and Fortune. Sounds familiar, a bit like the old Farseer, so that's quite nice to see. The Warlocks have Conceal, Destructor and Quickening. The Space Marines are up over the other side of the table there, and they have deployed. We have Tigerius with some Centurions. Who else is over there?
The Librarian formation.
Librarian formation.
And the Captain with a Storm Shield.
And a Captain with a Storm Shield. So a bit of a Death Star unit there. We have some Terminators, and they've got Thunderhammer and Storm Shield. In reserve, just up over there, there's some down in a case as well. We've got some Stern Guard in a drop pod. We have some Tacticals in a drop pod. We've got a Assault Marine squad. They're just going to do normal reserves along with a couple of other 5-man tactical squads. So yes, we're playing the Scouring. Objective wise, we haven't turned over these points yet, but we've got one there, one in the middle, one by my Fire Prisms, one up by that flashing piece of terrain, one just there, and one up behind that forest. So we're going to have a look at these objectives, and then I will see if I want to seize the initiative. Right, okay, so turn the objectives over. The Fire Prisms sitting on 1, the one in the middle is 4, this one over here is 3, down by the Space Marines we have a 2 and a 3, and over there we have a 2. Okay, so I'm now going to attempt to seize the initiative. And I've rolled a 6. Initiative is stolen for the dirty Eldar. Okay, so that was turn 1 for the Eldar. So what I forgot to mention, hiding behind that tomb up over there is a Thunderfire cannon. Also I forgot to mention that the Psychic unit, of course, has a lot of different psychic powers, but in particular invisibility. Which is why I was quite pleased to steal the initiative. I thought if I can get some shots on before they get invisibility up, that would be quite useful. So I started off just shuffling around, making sure that all of my Scatter Lasers were in range of that unit. In the Psychic phase, I put Fortune onto the Sea Council, and I managed to guide the Warwalkers there. Proceeded to shoot the Vipers, they're Scatter Lasers, and also those Vipers there along with the Wave Serpent, and I managed to take 2 wounds off the front guy. He's just like a captain in Terminator armour, so 3 wounds, he's got 1 wound left. I then put my Warwalker Scatter Lasers, bearing in mind there's a lot of shots there and they were guided, so I did a lot of wounds. He saved absolutely every single one. He was doing Lookout Sirs. He rolled only 1-1, and that was for the Lookout Sir, of which he proceeded to save. So pretty poor round really for me. All I did was 2 wounds off of that captain guy, and that was it. And that was without invisibility up. So I think I've got a tough ride here as we move into turn 1 and a drop pod for the Space Marines. Okay, so that was turn 1 for the Space Marines. The first drop pod just came down here, eyeing up my Fire Prisms there with the squad of Stern Guard. Over here the Terminators moved up along with the Centurions. In the psychic phase, a few psychic powers went off, in particularly invisibility, although Tigerius did take a wound from perils. I'd also managed to get off +1 to reserves, was it? Or reroll reserves? Reroll reserves, so the next drop pod probably will be almost definitely coming down. In the shooting phase, these guys opened up on my fire prisms, starting with some Malta, took 1 whole point off, and then I changed the penetrating hit into a glancing hit with my Spirit Stone, and then got hit with some grab weapons, some combi grabs. They managed to immobilise me, and I'm down to a 1 whole point. So no first blood, which was quite useful. Over here, both of these units just ran, and they both ran 3 inches. The Thunderfire cannon up over there targeted my Seer Council, a huge scatter all the way over there. One of the blasts did manage to hit my Wave Serpent, but there was no 6s thrown. That scatter there was pretty much similar to what I did with my Fire Prisms the previous turn, which I forgot to mention, but I did target those Centurions, and I scattered hugely and missed everything. And that was combining the beams, just trying them out, trying to kill those AP2 Marines. Okay, so that was turn 1 over. We are now going to move into turn 2 for the Eldar. Of course, we have some reserves, so let's get rolling. So we have, if I can get some dice, there we go. Squad of scatter jet bikes, they are out. Another squad of scatter jet bikes, they are out. And lastly, the Crimson Hunter, that is not coming out this turn. More to come. Okay, so Eldar turn 2. I brought both of the jet bike squads on here, just moved them up 12 inches. My target priority was the guy standing there, potentially the drop pod, just had to make sure I got first blood. Second target priority would have been the Terminators. Obviously I rejiggled, made sure that I was in correct gun range to do just that. I started off taking the squad out there with the scatter lasers on the jet bikes. Pretty successful there, and that was first blood, quite useful. Just going back to the psychic phase, I managed to get Doom off on the Terminators and I managed to guide the War Walkers. I failed all the other psychic powers though, but that proved very, very useful. I shot all of the other guns at the Terminators, even shot my Serpent Shield, which as it was took the last Terminator away, so I managed to kill all of the Terminators. I totally ignored that unit over there, which obviously they are invisible. And that was pretty much it. In the assault phase, I just moved the jet bikes up and just repositioned them. So we are now going to move into turn 2 for the Space Marines. Let's see if these reserves come out.
5-man tacticals.
Tacticals are out.
Another set.
More tacticals out.
Tacticals and drop pod.
Drop pod is out.
And then the
Assault Marines.
Assault Marines. I'm going to
There.
re-roll the tacticals in a drop pod.
Okay then, re-roll that. They're still out. Yep, so everything is out for the Space Marines. Okay, turn 2 coming up. Okay, so turn 2 there for the Space Marines. The drop pod came just down there, didn't scatter, right on that 4-point objective, and the tactical Marines got out. The Centurions moved up, and then from reserve came the other squad of tacticals, and behind that building there we have the Assault Marines. In the psychic phase, all the psychic powers went off as best as they could. We had Prescience, we had Take Away My Cover Save, we had Invisibility, and then the Tactical Marines and the Centurions opened up fire on my Seer Council and killed the lot. So that was Slay the Warlord for the Space Marines. The drop pod shot my War Walker, got a lucky 6 and I didn't save it, so I've took a whole point there. The barrage came over from the Thunderfire cannon, targeted my 2 fire prisms, managed to get some good successful hitting. Both the fire prisms now, that A, they've jinked, and B, they're both on 1 whole point. So yeah, that was that. The other drop pod shot my jet bikes, but didn't hit me. So that was turn 2 for the Space Marines. I think that was quite a good retaliation. We're going to now move into turn 3 for the Eldar. Let's see if the Crimson Hunter comes out. A 5 this time, so it does. Turn 3, Eldar. Okay, so that was my turn 3. The Crimson Hunter, he came on up over there, just rotated round, eyeing up the Marines or the drop pod there. Over this side of the table, I took one squad of jet bikes right over there. The idea to try and take out the Thunderfire cannon. These bikes just position themselves in range of the tactical squad, and the Vipers moved back. The War Walkers rejiggled, so the guy with the hull point just moved to the back, and the fresh guy moved up to the front. He moved from there over to that side. The 5 prisoners, of course, were immobilised. I opened up on the 10-man tactical squads there with the jet bikes. I snapshot those 2 at the Centurions because they were invincible anyway, and I had to snapshot, so I just went for that as I had jinked before. Then I shot the 2 Vipers into the tacticals, and I managed to kill all of those, which was quite useful. Over this side of the table, those scatter lasers shot the Thunderfire cannon. I got 4 wounds through, and the Space Marine player rolled 4 6s to save them, so nothing done there. Then opened up the scatter lasers and the Crimson Hunter, trying to remove this drop pod from the 4-point objective. The Crimson Hunter whiffed quite a bit, rolled double 1 on one of the guns. I did manage to take 1 whole point off of that, and then I shot the War Walkers into there. I had loads and loads of wounds, but I only rolled 1 6 to get a glancing hit, so the pod survives with 1 wound on the 4-point objective. That was the Eldar turn 3. We are now going to move into the Space Marines turn 3. Okay, so turn 3 for the Space Marines. The Centurions there continue to move on up, along with those guys who moved and ran forward towards that objective just there. The Psychic phase, they rolled a 1, so I only had 1 dice, so I couldn't really deny much. He managed to get a invulnerable save on the drop pod. He managed to get invisibility, and then prescience, a few other bits and pieces, took away my cover save. The Centurions totally opened up on my War Walkers, and I didn't get 1 invulnerable save, so all the Walkers just easily went down there. The drop pod tried to shoot my Crimson Hunter as it was snapshotting only and missed. This drop pod here shot my jet bikes and missed. The Thunderfire cannon shot at my 5 prisms there. I did jink. Managed to save what came through, but of course only snapshotting next turn once again. And that was it. So we are now going to move into the Eldar turn 4. Okay, so turn 4 for the Eldar. Move the jet bikes up, trying to get in a position to shoot behind that building there. The single fire prison that could move just moved away from that one, trying to stop any multiple barrages coming in. The 2 Vipers just jiggled around, moved slightly forward. Over there, the fire prism moving, the Wave Serpent moving from there to there, and then the Crimson Hunter just moving up over there. My priority was to try and remove this drop pod sitting on that 4-point objective, and then try to remove some of the scoring men. So I managed to take the drop pod out using the Wave Serpent just there. Over this side of the table, these jet bikes at the back could really only see the Thunderfire cannon. I shot that, but the Space Marines did move their Tech Marine in the way, so they saved everything with their 2+ save. The other jet bike squad there shot the Jump Marines that were behind. I killed all of them apart from 2. They took a leadership check, which they didn't fail. And then the Crimson Hunter and the 2 squads of Vipers opened up on that squad just there. Managed to kill a good number of them, just 2 men left. Again, they didn't fail their leadership. Pretty good there for the Space Marines. Okay, so that was my turn 4. The 2 fire prisms, they just snapshot at the Marines, but I failed to get any 6s. Okay, so we're going to move on now to turn 4 for the Space Marines. Right, turn 4 for the Space Marines. So the Centurion blob moved on up towards that 4-point objective, sitting quite happily on there. Behind the building, the 2 remaining jump pack guys moved out, shot and attempted to assault my jet bikes to hold them up for a turn. As it was, I managed to kill both of them in Overwatch. So that's was what's happened there. The psychic phase, again, loads of psychic powers gone off, invisibility being one of them, also like re-rolls, taking away my cover saves, etc. And those guys there successfully took out both of my fire prisms, so both of those were wrecked. The guys that were there just moved up towards that objective, just at the back of that Necron forest. That was pretty much it. Those guys there shot up at my Crimson Hunter, but no 6s. So we are now going to move into turn 5 for the Eldar, and this is potentially the last turn. Okay, so that was turn 5 for the Eldar. So I started off moving the jet bikes just in a forward position. The first squad here just shot the guy right at the back on that objective. 2 of them managed to kill those both. The second squad of jet bikes here just shot the Thunder fire cannon, and the tech priest felt both of his wounds, so that was destroyed. The Crimson Hunter just moved on up here. He shot the guys that were behind that building there, managed to kill 2 of the guys, so there's 3 left. They didn't fail their leadership. Over here, that Viper moved away from this immobilised one, just going towards that objective along with the fire prism with the Dire Avengers in. And then the other 2 Vipers, they moved on up over here towards this objective. Had no choice but to shoot the Centurions, only thing in range. I did actually pretty well considering they were invisible. I managed to kill 2 Centurions, a captain. Tigerius is there with just 1 wound because he did 2 perils during the course of the game. They, however, didn't fail their leadership, and they're holding fast on that 4-point objective. And then in the assault phase, I did an assault move with those jet bikes up onto that objective just there. So I'm holding quite a good number of objectives, but there's still some time left for the Space Marines to do some damage. So we will continue and move on to turn 5 for the Space Marines. Okay, so Space Marines turn 5. This unit here just consolidated onto the objective, got off all their psychic powers. The other unit that was behind the building just moved within range of that objective. Those guys and also the Centurions all shot at my jet bikes which were on this objective. As you can see, I lost 4. The drop pod also shot me. Managed to save my leadership. I got a double 1, so I didn't run away, which was pretty useful. And that was all that the Space Marines could do. So we are now going to add up the points. So we've got the Space Marines here, 4 points for them there, and then over here that's 3 points. That's 7 points for objectives for the Space Marines. I have this one here, which is 2 points. This one which is 1, and then this one over here which is 3 points. So that gives me 6 points for objectives. The Space Marines have Slay the Warlord, that gives them 8 points in total. And I have First Blood, I have Line Breaker because of the Crimson Hunter, and I also have a point for killing the Assault Marines, the fast attack choice. So we're currently on 8 points to 9 for the Eldar. And we're going to roll now to see if the game goes on. A 6. The game goes on. More to come. Okay, so we just played both turn 6s. I moved up my jet bikes there that were remaining, and I managed to shoot out the last 2 guys with the jet bikes and then these Vipers here. So that gives me that 3-point objective. Continued to shoot here, but I did no damage. And then in the Space Marines phase, they shot my Viper here, trying to get a point for killing a fast attack. Managed to get 1 whole point off, but I did jink and save everything else. So as we stand now, it's 5 points for the Space Marines with this objective and Slay the Warlord. And the Eldar are currently now on 12 points after taking that 3-point objective over there. So let's see if the game continues. A 2. No, game ends. Okay, that's it for now. Stay tuned for the tactical table.
Tactical table.
Okay, welcome to this tactical table. Right, now the first thing I want to say is I really hope you enjoyed the actual game. I hope that the footage was a little bit better this time because I've got a new support system which should be keeping the camera a little bit more shake-free than it usually is. So I hope you notice the difference. Let me know in the comments box below. Okay, so this list is obviously my traditional Saim Hann list. I jiggled this around to get my War Walkers in, which obviously I'd recently painted. So it was originally a 2k list. I dropped the Valken with some Dire Avengers in, and I dropped holofields on everything because I had holofields on absolutely everything previously, and it actually surprisingly was a lot of points. It made room for those War Walkers without any issue at all. So I was really pleased with that little tweak. Overall, I thought the list performed pretty well. There's certainly a lot of firepower there, all those scatter lasers. I don't think there's too much that really, to be fair, that I would change. I think having the 2 fire prisms in a squadron, which I've always thought is a bad idea. I just wanted to try it out, and I now absolutely think that it's not a great idea. So if I can in the future, I will keep them separate. At 2k with my Valken in the list, they will have to stay as a squadron, but at this points level I think I will just keep them separate. Space Marines, of course, they had a huge amount of points in this unit here. It was about 800 points right there. It was a very powerful unit, very difficult to kill with invisibility, almost guaranteed to get invisibility up with I think it was like 4 librarians in there in total, including Tigerius. Really hard to deal with, and also a lot of firepower with all the re-rolls and taking away the cover saves, etc. So anything they shot at just tended just to fall quite easily, and that was witnessed with my Seer Council going down, and of course the War Walkers going down. Of course, so many points in that one unit just meant that multiple objective scoring was always going to be tough for the Space Marines. I think they did well. Considering, keeping those the tactical units all in reserve, giving them half a chance. Ultimately, I think the downfall was just too many points in that one unit. So yeah, that is it for this little chat. Like I said, I really hope you enjoyed the game. Always a pleasure to record these battle reports and to play the game. So I really hope you enjoy watching it too. Okay, so that's it for me for this video. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one.